All right, you guys, today I'm gonna do a video showing you where I came from, because you guys know everything about Robert, but you don't know anything about my background. So today I'm really excited to take you around my hometown, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and show you what made me, me. So I grew up behind this fence in a tiny little blue house, and we had the best park ever in our backyard. This is where I started softball. It's where I went and played on the playground. I used to shoot hoops with all the neighborhood kids. My next door neighbor and I would always get on our big wheels, have big wheel races down the street. We'd get on our bike, we'd go everywhere on our bike. And back then, if the street lights came on, you went home. If you heard mom calling, you went home. But we did our thing and it was so awesome. And I wish my kids could do that, but today's age and age is a little bit different. But this was where I grew up. I mean, we would try to get it hit at the ball as hard as we could and get it over that fence. The neighbors would complain all the time that we had balls flying in their yard. But yeah, this is my hometown. This is where I grew up. So I'm gonna take you guys on a tour. I haven't been here in so many years, so it's really cool to look and see what everything came to. Come on, Rem. I have Remy here with me, and you guys have been asking about the dogs. I'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, Remy is here with me. Come on, Rems. Oh my gosh, this is where my all-time best friend Shane Anderson grew up. I mean, we did everything together as kids, everything. Remy, come. Oh my gosh, and his mom had this awesome vegetable garden. This is the house that I grew up in. And I don't want to be a creeper, but that is the house I grew up in. And those trees back there, I don't know if you guys can see those trees all the way back there. I don't know where I'm looking in this camera. My dad planted those trees. They were tiny, tiny, tiny. And we had a swing set back there. There was a basketball hoop back there. And I played basketball all the time. This is the sidewalk that Shane and I would always run our big wheels down. We had big wheelers. Oh my gosh, this is bringing back so many memories. I have not walked this sidewalk. I don't even know when the last time I did. Maybe when I was 12? That's crazy. And then we went and took our bikes to the Hostess store. We would always get these little orange cream-filled like cupcake things with like white drizzle on top. And then we would go to Jordy's, and Jordy's was like a candy shop / liquor store, but we were able to go as kids. So we'd take our bikes over there, we'd stock up on all the candy because it was like 5 cents for Tootsie Rolls. We would just pile up, bring it all home, eat it all up, then go play, burn off our energy. We had it made. I mean, it was awesome. Those are the trees that my dad planted. So we would literally cut right through the trees, come around here, go play at the park, and back there, we would put water slides down. We'd make it so muddy, and the muddier it got, the slipperier it was, so you could slide down. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. I would play catch with Dad right there, behind the house. If you don't live in your hometown anymore, I am challenging you to go back and check it out and walk where you used to walk, because I have not done this in so many years. And it's bringing back so many memories. It's just awesome. Okay, so this is where I started catching for the first time. And I was a catcher in softball. And this is where it all started. I remember so clearly. I came up to this batter's box. I was ready. And the pitcher pitched the ball. And I swung so hard that I literally turned in a circle. And I was so embarrassed. And I missed. I totally missed. The things we used to do as kids on this ball diamond, we had so much fun. Like good quality fun. We didn't care if we got dirty. Nothing mattered back then. And this little blue house right behind me is where I first gained interest in hunting in the outdoors. I remember my dad would come home, he'd pull in the driveway, he'd have a nice buck in the back, or he'd come home with a turkey, and I was so jealous. I wanted to go with him. And so that's where he first started taking me, was when I lived in that house. And we would go up to our land. We have 30 acres up in Watoma. That's where Dad taught me how to hunt, and he would take me shooting, and we'd explore, and he'd have me help him hang stands. There is so much in that little house. I mean, that's where I became me. Okay, so when my parents lived over there, we used to come over here. My grandpa owned, they called it the River Rat Shack. He had this little shack right on the river. We would come down here and we would catch so many fish, catfish. We'd go over, we'd have a catfish fish fry, and we used to just hang out on this little shack. And this has changed so much, I'm not even going in the right spot. Remy! They added this huge, like, river walk, and I don't even know how to get over there anymore. I mean, that just shows you how long it's been since I came here. Oh my gosh, that smell. Oh my gosh. Wow, that smell brings back so many memories. We would see baby ducks. You see the people riding on all these crazy boats. I mean, we thought it was the coolest thing. Remy, come on! Out! Come on! Remy's in the water. I can hear a boat. I don't even know how you get down to River Shack anymore. Can you guys hear that? Oh, there it is right there. Oh my gosh. Can you see that boat behind me? That's the crazy boats I was talking about. I don't know if you can hear it as well as I can hear it, but okay, so this is how you would get down to this shack. This used to be a trail, and it leads you, there's a little, like, I don't know, 2x10, 2x12, I can't even tell. But you basically walk across the ramp, and it leads you right up there to the shack. This used to be a railroad track that they turned into a fishing pier. That right there is the River Shack. Oh my gosh. You used to walk across that bridge. That goes up and down on some type of lever that you'd have to crank. And it's all floating. Oh my gosh, and that's where you used to stay. They clearly redid the deck though, because there used to be a hole right there, where used to be a live well, where you'd put fish in there and bait in there. Oh wow. That is so cool. Rat Shack. See, this says Rat Shack. So that has changed so much. There used to be more shacks like that along the river, and the baby ducks would go back and forth between the two shacks. I remember running up there and catching fish and running back to show mom or dad. We'd have fish fries there. We had a really good time there. And then when my grandpa passed away, they ended up selling it, and they still have them. I think they're protected because when they did this river walk, there's only a handful of them left, but they're not ripped down yet. So that's really cool that my grandpa's is one of the ones that was left. But yeah, that's where I grew up, you know, learning how to fish. And then we would go up here and we'd rent videos at Family Video, which they still are open, I cannot believe. We'd rent videos, we'd go home. We had a great time. Okay, so this is where we used to ride our bikes all the time. Our friends, we would take one bike, we'd throw pegs on, and we would peg each other all over the place. And this is South Park. Behind me, right back at that far bridge, Dad and I would come here, we would catch crayfish, and then I would take the crayfish home and they would be my pets. We'd catch snapping turtles, we caught fish that I used to put in my little red wagon that I would save as pets. We did so much here, and every winter all the geese, ducks, everything swarm this area because it's a nice water source. There's a lot of ducks laying here right now. I'm surprised there aren't any geese actually, but we always were told not to go in this water because it's so mucky on the bottom that people would drown. So that I still have never been in this water, but we would hang out at this park. There's tennis courts, there's a playground. We would bike this far from home, which is crazy to me nowadays, but it was totally normal back then. We would bike, hang out with friends, and then we would go home right before dark, so we'd make it in time for dinner. Okay, so this is where I went to elementary school. Every winter, we would come out here for recess, and there would be a huge mound, a snow mound, and we would go out there, we'd put all of our warm gear on, we'd go out there and we'd play on the snow. Behind me, we would play Foursquare all the time, every recess. Hi guys. And then there used to be a huge swing set over there, but now they changed everything. There used to be bars, there used to be like this big spider looking thing. We'd play football in that backfield. We would play kickball right here. This is the kickball area, and they still have bases, so I know they still play. This is for younger kids. out in this backfield behind me, we would have field days. So we would come out here and we'd have hacky sack races and all these fun games, and that was like my favorite time of the year. There would be weekends where you would jump rope for a cause, so you would come jump rope as long as you could the entire day and raise money for different things going on during that time. But yeah, this is where I went to elementary school. Oh my gosh, this brings back so many memories. Okay, so I took you guys straight to the softball field at my high school. I spent so many hours at the softball field, so much time, so much practicing, so many games. I mean, the second I started playing softball, we would play weekend tournaments here. I was a catcher for 10 years. I played softball almost every single night. Every single weekend we were packing up the car and heading somewhere. That was our vacation. Our vacation was softball trips. And I loved every second of it. I mean, the friends I got to meet along the way, my coach, John Clone, I have such a tight relationship with him. He really molded me into the player that I was, and he was like a second dad to me all those years. And I actually went to visit him the other night, which was really cool because I haven't seen him in 10 years, which is crazy. I had such a bad superstition. I mean, softball is all about superstitions, but I would have to go through the fence and have someone pour water on my batting glove so it would get nice and sticky. Then I would go up to the plate and have such a good grip on my bat, and I would just be ready to pound the ball down their throat. This is where I grew. I can't even begin to tell you how many runners I picked off at these bases. It's like I'm walking down memory lane. This is very cool. And I don't know what my kids are gonna play. I don't even know if they're gonna play a sport, but if they do play softball, I can promise you I will be coaching them. This was my plate that I guarded with everything that I had back in the day. That was my team. If you're able to go play a sport and be on a team, it teaches you how to be in charge, how to be a leader, how to show respect, how to trust other people. There's so much that sports teach you. So if you have the opportunity to even try a sport, even if you're not the best at it, it still will teach you stuff. Being around other people to learn from, it's just such a valuable thing in my life. And a lot of times I'll look back and I have all these awesome memories. I made it to all state. I got all district, first team all conference. We played a D1 high school over here in Oshkosh. I went to Oshkosh West High School and I made co-player of the year. I've earned MVP multiple times. I also played in the senior all-star game, which was really cool. Mom would cut out all the newspaper. Anytime I was in the newspaper, Mom would cut it out and highlight anything about me. That was me at UWO teaching little kids. And she would save it all. And I haven't seen this stuff in probably 10, 12 years. And when I started going through the boxes, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is so cool to look back on. And anytime I would have something exciting happen, that was my next door neighbor. He wrote on our envelope because he was our mailman. And people would, the front office people would send me notes in class. And people would mail us stuff. They would send me letters and give me congratulations. And I didn't even know I had any of this stuff. So it was really cool to look back, and my maiden name was Pomeranian, so that's why you guys see Pomeranian. This was one of my first gloves that Mom and Dad got me, my catching glove, and I would get it repadded. We would go to a guy here in Oshkosh and he would repad it all the time for me, and oh my gosh, these pictures, and I didn't even know I had all of this stuff. And on our 16 under team, we won nationals. So that's my nationals award. This is my senior all-star award. This is a letter from my coach, Johnny Clone. So coming off from the softball field, after high school, I went to UW Oshkosh, and I didn't do well at UW Oshkosh. So I went to Fox Valley Technical College, and there I kind of bounced around from different majors, but I ended up with an associate's degree in dental assisting. And this is Dental Design Studio. This is where I worked when I met Robert. So oh, the doors are locked. Man, I'm gonna see if they'll let me in. If they know who I am, hopefully they'll let me in. I know Dr. Bell's here. Bummer. But when I met Robert, he sent me flowers to this dental design studio, and they all thought I was crazy because he lived in Florida, I lived in Oshkosh. But they were so supportive. I mean, they were like, good for you. I hope everything works out. If it doesn't, come back, you'll have a job. So this is where I was working when I met Robert, and I just never came back. It worked out with Rob, and then I moved to Florida. So This was my life back in Oshkosh, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it for you because it brought back so many memories. So hit like if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little notification bell because it will let you know when I upload. And until next time, I'll be back in Florida, but take care, God bless, and we gone. I forgot about Remy. I can't let you guys forget about Remy. So I'm gonna put an end to all of your wondering about what happened to the dogs. This is Remy. I got her in 2008 as a puppy, and I was just going into college, so I stayed home with my parents, and I raised Remy, I trained Remy, and I did everything with her. And then when I met Rob, I moved down to Florida with her. And the dogs were a huge part of our life. They were a huge part of Deer Meat for Dinner. But just after Aria turned 2, Tebow, the little black Australian Shepherd, bit Aria in the face, and it was horrible. We had a horrible night in the ER. She had to get a bunch of stitches on her cheek and on her nose. He kind of bit like this, and he caught her good. And she didn't provoke him in any way. She was just crawling, and she obviously just got too close to him, and he snapped. Jeez, Rem. He snapped and he bit her, and since then we decided to rehome all the dogs. So Remy came up here back to my parents' house, so every time I come up I can visit her. But Tebow and Marlon ended up going to friends of ours where they don't have kids, they don't have anything to worry about like that. So the dogs are all in good hands, but that is what happened to them. So our kids just definitely come first, and I don't want anything like that ever happening again. It was a horrible night, and they freak me out now. So that's what happened with the dogs. It was just a really hard time in our lives. It was probably the most stressful week we had as a married couple, as parents, as everything combined, because you know, when your child gets hurt like that, it's just very stressful. So for those of you who are wondering, that is what happened, but that's it. So I will see you next time.